Guys, this one is special for sure. Today we have a Chris Salerno. He's an investor and owner of QC Capital multifamily investment firm. Chris has also sold more than 40 million in real estate volume and helped to lead the #1 real estate team in the Carolinas. Named to Charlotte's 30 Under 30, Chris is the leading expert in real estate, providing people an opportunity to protect and grow their money with QC Capital. So welcome to the Money Show today, Chris.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Can you just explain people what do you do and how did you came across the real estate space in the first place, and maybe a little bit more about yourself and your story?
Yeah, definitely. So QC Capital, I founded here. QC stands for Queen City, and I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina, which they call Charlotte, North Carolina, the Queen City. So I broke it down to QC Capital, and our specialty is very heavily on that Charlotte market. The good thing is the economic growth that we have here in Charlotte. We are second biggest financial district in the United States, which a lot of people don't know that. We have because of our the way of living and the cost of living here so low, we have a lot of people coming in here, a lot of jobs transferring because of taxes and everything. So our main focus is heavily on this Charlotte market. And when I've ran a company, COO of a company, and understood that when you're growing a company or when you are running a company, you should focus on one thing and really make that one thing everything. So that's why our main focus is here in that Charlotte market. And we specialize in Class B and Class C value-added assets. So over 100 units. So our specialty is going into these properties that are undermanaged, mom and pops, family owned. We go in there, we fix all the units up to meet the Class A comparisons right now here in the Charlotte market, because there's so many Class A apartments here with granite countertops, hardwood floors, stainless steel appliances. Then we go ahead and up the rents. And we add amenities to these complexes. So these Class B and Class C complexes have more amenities that can compete with these Class A complexes here in the Charlotte area.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, because I know like all these places, not even probably Carolina, like all these states, because I'm not from states, but probably some of you guys who are watching right now, are from there, from that part. Maybe you're from Europe. Well, it doesn't matter, because all the places, Europe,
anywhere,
states, it's getting overbuilt all over the place. So, that's where you mentioned Class A properties are coming from, that's...
The biggest thing is here in the Charlotte area, especially, and I know we're probably seeing this around the world, is that these Class A brand new apartments, I mean, it is astronomical in rent what they're charging. So yeah. I feel comfortable and feel very pleased to go into a undermanaged, a property that is undervalued and that is not up to date like these Class A's, and get them up to date with the granite countertops, the stainless steel appliances, hardwood floors, and not up the rent substantially. So these type of tenants can feel very comfortable, and they love their home, and they make these apartments feel like their home initially. So I'm honored to do that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's. Well, it depends. Like from a renter's end, I mean, what people are looking for, are they looking for just that? I come into the unit and it's all brand new, like you mentioned. The kitchen countertops, granite countertops, the bathroom is fixed, like the room it's all freshly done. Are they looking for that sense of community also? That there won't be any like bad people in the place. Does that matter also, or?
Yeah, I think definitely it matters big time when we go ahead and do our value added for each property. The curb appeal is, I used to sell residential real estate, and when selling homes and when even going into multifamily, once my transitioning went over, the biggest thing is curb appeal. So right when you pull up to a property, most of our tenants feel home and they feel welcome. And I think that's a big thing when going in before they even see the unit, is that they feel that the surrounding of the complex with the amenities and the landscaping, they feel like it's home. Then once they walk into the units, it's a no-go. I mean, it is a for sure thing they want to get in.
Yeah. So from a buyer's perspective, from your end, it's not just the countertops and all that stuff. Also, it's appealing at the first place too. Yeah.
I want them to. I would not purchase a complex that I would not move into. That is my motto. That's how I am as a person, is that if I'm going to purchase a complex and renovate it, I have to do it to my liking, and my standards are very high. If you know me and if you follow me on Instagram, my standards are extremely high. But I have to make sure that this complex is something that I would personally move my family into before I even put it on the market for lease for these tenants.
Okay. Okay. That's great. Love it. So, talking about, the units and, updating them and having all that. So how do you determine multifamily investment criteria in the first place? And can you talk about a little bit more about the purchasing process? How does that work?
Yeah, definitely. So going down and breaking it to the criteria, the biggest thing in anyone who's thinking about going into multifamily or real estate in general, I always stress, and I used to coach people around the United States in real estate, I always stress you have to have a coach. So I hired a coach and we really sat down and narrowed down the criteria. The biggest thing in the United States in 08 and 09, we got hit very heavily in the real estate market, the big boom. And I think, yes, we're going to see another market shift. It's about time. I do not think personally that, in my opinion, that we will see what we saw in 08, 09, and 2010. But I went back and I studied. Industrial, retail, and office got hit very heavily. Multifamily did not get hit very hard, but it did take a dip. And the classes that took a dip was A class, just like what we said, A class, because it's brand new construction and they're charging the top of the line for rent. But B and C class did not take that hard of a hit. And even in the recovery stage of 2011, 2012, and 13, B and C class recovered a lot quicker than A class did, and over the board from industrial, retail, and office. So my specialty is that B and C class for our investors, because when we do see that market shift, and we want to make sure that our investors are still pleased and we can still go ahead and give them our preferred return that we preferred to them on that monthly basis of that extra income. I don't know in their lives what happens if, they may lose a job or not, or, something like that, because back in 08 and 09, a lot of people did. But I want to make sure our investors feel very comfortable with our investment during a market correction. So that's why a lot of investors invest with us, is because that's how we see it, is that we're trying to make sure during that market correction, we still have a very strong asset that is cash flowing and making sure they get paid on a monthly basis.
Yeah, exactly. And I love what you said about the A and B type of properties, A type of properties probably would be really hard to buy because those properties is going to be quite expensive, I guess.
Very much so. We just had a couple here in Charlotte hit the market and they're close to 70, 80 million.
Yeah, and they are turnkey properties, and you guys
very much
for value adds, value add properties. And would you recommend, like, for anybody who's looking to get involved into real estate space to go and see the C or D properties? Would you, C properties that are okay? We're talking 20 years old, maybe, are we talking C type of locations or C type of properties, first of all?
C type of properties. We actually are acquiring currently a C type of property right now. So C type of properties, I think if you are getting your foot into it, I don't sponsor or anything, but bigger pockets is a big thing. That's how I've met a lot of people. But podcasts. Podcasts are a big thing. That is where I actually gained a lot of my knowledge, and that's how I found my personal coach. Is through a podcast. I was listening to this podcast and went to a networking multifamily event. So if you have those in your area, multifamily networking events, go. I was not big into them. Now I'm big into them, but I pushed myself to go to this event, and I met business partners that I'm doing deals with right now. And that's how I got introduced to my coach currently. And if I did not go to that event, I would not be here where I am at today. So it comes to that positive mindset and taking that courage to step outside of your comfort zone, because that's where the success sits, is outside of that comfort zone, to go to these multifamily networking events, listening to podcasts, and just soaking up as much information needed to go into this type of career. The big thing is it took me 1 year to soak up just as much knowledge as possible before I even made the jump to selling residential real estate to 100% full-time into multifamily syndication. Okay.
I love it. I love it because what you said is true, right? because
Yeah.
people are looking, there's a lot of people, like real estate is booming all over the place. It doesn't matter.
Oh,
In
yes.
Europe, everybody is looking to be an investor. And what determines an investor from a non-investor, guys, the ones for, Instagram posers, right? Like, I'm investing. If you bought a house, it's not an investment,
I agree.
If you bought a REIT, if you bought a stock, it's not an investment. You're not an investor, like. And what Chris said is just basic, simple truth. Like, before you invest into real estate, you should invest in yourself. Like,
Correct.
it takes a lot of time. Like, I did an interview before, guys. You can go and check her out previous week. The guy said exactly the same. He owns 1,500 units, and the guy said exactly the same. I was obsessed with my learning all the time before I invested, the money. You can invest the time before you invest the money.
I think the biggest thing is time is very valuable, and we all need to realize that, is because we cannot buy time back, and we only have one brain. Warren Buffett made a very quote that if you can get any car you want in the world, say it's a Lamborghini, how would you take care of that car? You would take care of it spotless. I mean, you'd probably baby it though. I mean, if you had it for the rest of your life and could not pick a new car, you would baby that car. Well, why don't we do that with our brains? Because we only have one brain. So it's not necessarily, I think a big thing is, and when I first started out, is that I asked these people who have 1,000 units under their management, who have 5,000 units under their management, hey, can I just shadow you a day? Can I just talk questions with you and talk real estate with you and just be a fly on the wall? Because the knowledge that I gained from just being in that same room with them when they're speaking real estate is helping, and is definitely helped me to get to where I'm at today, because no one can take the knowledge away from me that I've learned. Exactly. So I think it's very important to give back to yourself, give back to your mind and your family to gain that knowledge to get to where you want to be and to hit your goals essentially.
Yeah. Oh, of course, 100%. I get the message like, you have to leave your room and you have to go to the event and you have to meet people because, there's a lot of people talking like, oh, I just want to be a solopreneur. I want to do my own thing. Like, I don't like talking with people. Like, this is not for you guys.
I used to be that person that, went to the networking event and just hung out in the corner.
Me too.
Yeah. I mean, that's it. But then I realized when I went to this networking event to meet my mentors and to actually get introduced to my coach currently, I was there by myself at a handful of business cards. And I said, I'm here. I'm the only one dressed in a suit. I'm going to hand out all these business cards. And that's where I'm at today. So the biggest thing is it's that comfort zone. And I draw a circle, and I'll post it on my Instagram. It's a comfort zone, and everything in that circle is where you're comfortable at. And then if you draw a circle around that, that is where the success lies in your life. And you have to step out of that comfort zone. You have to talk to people. The biggest thing is a team. The way I have QC Capital structured is that we're a big team environment, and anyone who's in the team, we all grow together. Because I've noticed and I've studied with multimillionaires and billionaires is that as a team, we all grow together instead of just one person. One person will max out sooner or later, and a team with multiple minds seeing a situation differently will grow together, and we'll hit our goals together. And that's the best thing, is everybody hitting the goals together.
Yeah, leverage.
That's right.
Yeah, exactly. So can we talk about, skills? We talked about being uncomfortable, going and talking with people, all that stuff. I mean, once it's uncomfortable, then you get comfortable after some time. But
correct.
How to learn how to raise capital? I mean, what does it take, first of all, for someone to learn how to raise capital for these type of investments?
Yeah, definitely. Well, I think any position someone's in, it's always a sales position. But when it comes to raising capital, to me, it is very important because it's a very touchy subject. Because depending on how much you have to raise, it's a lot of money. And when people make money, they really take care of their money better than anyone else would. So The biggest thing is, as I found with all of my investors and who I've built with going in and investing in deals, is trust. You have to gain that trust, and if it's going to their kids' game, going this Saturday, I'm going to one of my investors' wives. She's performing. They're Indian, and she's performing a skit here in Charlotte, and I'm taking my fiance and I to there to support them and support them as a family. So the biggest thing is building trust with your clients and with your investors, because when they trust you, they'll trust your decision, and they won't second guess your decision when going to acquiring a property and making sure the numbers are right for the investment. So I think the biggest thing is trust and building a very strong relationship that I have with all my investors who trust me to make that right decision and make going in when acquiring a property.
Yeah. Okay. That's great. I love this. What about how can someone, like, let's say, you know, like somebody's just starting, let's say, okay, I'm starting in the space, like, and probably you were talking about high net worth individuals that are investing into your deals. Probably it doesn't take probably a couple thousand. We're talking probably 100,000 initial investment.
Yeah. Our investments for all of our properties are a minimum of 50,000. All the way up. It depends on the deal and on the project, but all the way up to 1.2, 1.5 million for an initial investment for our clients. And they all have to be accredited investors.
Okay. So let's say that statistically, you know, I don't know the right number, but I think it's somewhere up to like 70% of people in the United States. I think statistics is the same in Europe almost. Maybe number is higher, who knows? Because you guys are more capitalists. And I love that because you care about money. Here, people, maybe they don't care that much. I don't know. Who knows? But, you know, the number is like 72% of people in the US don't have $400 in the pocket of savings. Like it's crazy. So how can someone meet those high net worth individuals? How they can build those connections and build that trust in the first place?
Yeah, great question. So I think you surround yourself, we have all heard the saying, show me your 5 closest friends and I'll show you your future. It's really true. You surround yourself with high net worth individuals, and how you do that is you go to where high net worth individuals like to hang out at. I have a lot of personal friends of mine who own multiple Lamborghinis, Ferraris, and every Sunday the guys go out and drive. I mean, so it's surrounding yourself in that type of network and getting outside of your comfort zone to go talk to these people, to just let them know what you're doing, to make friends with them, and don't sell them right off the bat. I'm not a big salesperson right off the bat, like a used car salesman, they say over here. I build that relationship and that trust, because that relationship and trust will go for the next 100 years than you just trying to sell them one product. So having a strong reputation, relationship, and trust, that right there is a big thing for me. And people here in the Charlotte area knows that I'm a real estate guy. They know anything real estate related, they come to me. I mean, I don't sell residential real estate anymore, but I get calls from past clients saying, hey, Chris, if I did this to my kitchen, would it add value? And that's what I love, is that I built that relationship with them. I built that trust that they know anything real estate related, you come to me. So it was a transitioning going over into that multifamily space. But with these investors who invested in residential, I'm showing them a greater opportunity for returns in the multifamily type of real estate assets that they can get for an investment. And they're very pleased with that. So I would say, going back to answering that question, is surround yourself, go to these events, multifamily events, go to investor events, go to car meetups with, you know, nice cars, high network events to meet these people, hand out business cards and show them your passion. That's the biggest thing, is at a very young age, everyone knows, and they still know, that my passion for real estate is out the roof. I love real estate. And I've met congressmen here in the state of North Carolina, and they know that my passion for real estate is out of the roof. So they trust me in any real estate decision I make. So I would say, really surround yourself and go to these networking events, because you never know. You never judge a book by its cover.
Yeah, exactly. And again, I just love what you said about, you know, like being an expert in the
Yeah.
space, because like, you know, sometimes if you go on a social channels, like for instance Instagram or Facebook, you go on a people like you know, maybe the picture gets your attention, you know, there's a guy leaning on a nice
Oh,
car, and you just like, I'm gonna check who this person is, you know, like has some
and
followers, and you go and
we,
check, and the
yeah,
person is like, I'm a real estate investor, trader, like I'm doing like 10 different things. So I don't know if that works, you know, for those people. But you know, like if you just become good at one, not good, great at one thing, like becoming
correct.
an expert in one thing. If that's your thing, if the multifamily is your thing, I think you just keep watching and you want to see what's going to happen next. If not, you probably switch to another video and checking, you know, maybe some trading and stuff like that. I don't know, but I'm just saying all of these options are good, but just don't dabble in the hundred of, you know.
I agree. And as we discussed before this, you know, about Bitcoin and stuff, I played in Bitcoin at the beginning of this year and lost over $15,000. And I looked at myself and I said, I do not know Bitcoin because I'm not an expert day trader, cryptocurrency trader. I'm an expert in real estate. That is my expertise. And why would I go and dabble in other things that I'm not an expert in? So that's why I am just 100% in the real estate market. I get messages every day on Instagram. Oh, what about this stock or this stock? I say, I don't mess with the stock market. I don't mess with cryptocurrency. My main thing is multifamily real estate, and that's the only thing.
Exactly, and that's what we know Chris Salerno for. He's a real
That's
estate,
right.
and then we're gonna know him for like this forever. So
That is right.
so let's talk about picking the market for your investments. You know, do you have any advice on that? I mean, and do you invest? And would you recommend to invest people in other states?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's very important. I invest throughout the Carolinas, Greenville, South Carolina, Raleigh. I invest throughout the Carolinas. There are other states I do look into. Austin, Texas, Houston, Texas, Orlando, Florida, and then the South Florida area. And the
So
reason why,
everything south. The south is booming. I mean, all the
correct.
baby boomers are coming towards south. That's where they're going to retire, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's where they're all going to retire. The big thing, though, is that I don't just focus it just on that. I focus it because I know those markets.
Exactly.
I specialize very heavily here in Charlotte, and that is my market. Anything that I can drive down Charlotte and tell you any new crane that just came up and what they're going to build. If it's office, a hotel, I know there's there's 8 hotels that are coming in Charlotte. I know that there's over 250 developments right now that are office in the south end of Charlotte. So I know my market in Charlotte. So when I first hired my coach, that was one of our things to do, is narrow down your market. And I'm 100% involved in my business, and I have a passion for it, that if I did not live in a great market or the suburbs of a great market, I will up and move tomorrow to get to a good market. Yeah. Because I've realized at a very young age is that here in the United States, money buys everything. And that's really everywhere in the world, that money buys everything. So I want to be in a good market where I can know that I can specialize and be a real estate expert and be the top person in that market, that I can go ahead and outbid other people because I know where that market and where that area is going. So my main focus is just on that one thing. And when you focus on that one thing, you can go ahead and you'll see your business take it to the next level. So that's why I did not move, because Charlotte's market, in my opinion, is the best on the East Coast because of our growth and because of our low living cost here. But to go ahead and narrow down your market, narrow down a market you know. And let's hope that market you know is a good market. If it is not, I would say, in my opinion, what I would do if I was in your shoes is I would go and move to a market that is a phenomenal market off the charts, that I see in the next 10, 20, and 30 years that it will still stay very strong. And I would move there and I would be a local real estate expert. I would know everything that's going on in the development side, multifamily. Here in Charlotte, there needs to be 72 more thousand apartments by 2030, just in Charlotte. So I'm good. I don't need to go to another market. I know what's going on here in Charlotte. So I think that's the big thing, is know what market you want to study and study it like the back of your hand. Just like we discussed a little bit ago, don't hop to different things. know that market, study it like at the back of your hand, and be a real estate expert in that market.
Yeah. And what about what people should be looking for when they're investing in those markets and they're willing, let's say, I'm somewhere in Texas, what particularly, because there is markets in the markets, I could be sitting, in Dallas or in Houston, and there could be, markets within the market, within the
Correct.
Texas. It could be a good spots or a bad spots to invest in. But what I should look for specifically, am I looking for, hospitals or maybe like technology companies like Facebook, Amazon coming in, like who I'm looking for when I'm looking ahead those 10-20 years?
Great question. So, and to answer that, and just like you just said, there could be good markets and bad markets. Here in the Charlotte area, there are bad markets that I won't even go and invest in because I know that people are moving out of that city. Some investors who are out of state may not know that because they don't know the Charlotte market like I do. So when I look into a market, and I was blessed to be in one of the second financial districts in the United States city here, and the growth and all the Fortune 500 companies that are housed here for their headquarters, I'm blessed to be there. But when you're looking to invest in a market or looking to go ahead and move to be a real estate expert in that market, what I did is I looked back in 08, 09, 2010, and Charlotte was a very strong market still. And that's one thing I like, because I know in a market shift, a market correction, that Charlotte will still be very strong. So our investors will still be very pleased. But looking with jobs, I would look for very strong, high employment jobs. I would not make sure the top 5 or number 1 there within job employment, that it holds the majority of the jobs in that market. I want to see a diverse. So through 1 through 15, I want to see there's a big number with them all, but small gaps between them all. That right there shows me that there's a very big diverse market, job market in that city, and that right there would spark my potential to go ahead and invest, me personally.
Okay, got it. What about investing, as we spoke? Let's say I'm in the wrong market. I'm living somewhere in California, right? Or San Francisco. It's one of those not right markets, right?
Correct.
But I want to invest somewhere, let's say in Georgia, and what's the deal here? Like, is what do you recommend? Like, to get partners in Georgia, or for me just to completely relocate and live in a different city?
A lot of people, like we discussed earlier, is that comfort zone, won't want to step out to hit their success level to relocate, or maybe financially they can't relocate, or their job is housed in one of those cities and their family's there, and they don't want to relocate, which is completely fine, because I have investors from Houston that invest in the Charlotte market, and they trust me because of the track record I built with my previous investors and my relationships. So I would say the biggest thing is find out who is the market expert for that type of real estate asset that you want to invest in. The thing we are blessed with, and I know when I was growing up, I wasn't blessed with it, but what we're blessed with today is social media. Facebook, I use Facebook for 100 strictly. You see my family on there, but all my investors are on there. All my business partners are on there. And I go ahead and I network with them on Facebook. I know if I send them an email and they don't respond, I can go to Facebook Messenger and they'll respond to me quicker. So go on Facebook, find out who's the market expert in those cities you are thinking about investing in, and then talk to them. Go ahead and get their track record. Go ahead and get their information, interview them necessarily, because you're investing your money with them. Interview them. Make sure that you feel comfortable with giving them your investments for those properties and those deals. Find out their track record and see what they have done with the previous deals that they've had and how they paid their investors back. So I would go ahead and use and leverage social media to your advantage to reach out to these market experts in the area. You can easily go. I know there's in the Charlotte area, there's Charlotte Multifamily Networking closed Facebook group. You can go ahead and be a member of it and tell them that you're looking to invest in the city and you want to find out a multifamily investor that has a great track record that you feel comfortable with. I promise you, no one's going to decline your joining one of those closed Facebook groups. So I think that's a big thing, is leverage social media to find out that market expert in the cities that you feel that are potential investments for you.
Yeah, exactly. And it's coming back to a couple of things that we talked before. Like, you have to become an expert, to know that this is the space, because it's hard to be committed when you're not committed to 10 things.
I agree.
Then when you become committed, then it's like, okay, tunnel vision, and you just dive in. So what about picking the deals? Okay, now we know what markets and why. What about underwriting the deals? Any advice for people on that?
Yeah, I definitely think, and I've read a ton of books on very successful people, and they say, even Richard Branson says, is that your weakness, you want to make sure is someone else's strength. So underwriting the deals, I make sure that my team underwrites it after I underwrite it, and then I make sure I turn it off to another underwriter. So I have multiple people underwriting these deals, because I don't want to make a bad decision going in with overpaying in a market or anything like that, because we don't know when that market correction will happen. So you don't want to overpay for a property, especially if it's Class A, in my opinion. So I would say really YouTube is a phenomenal. Learn how to underwrite deals, then find someone who's good with numbers, good with financing, knows the loan structures when looking at on the debt side, to underwrite the deal with you. And sit down with you. And if you have any questions, I hopped on a Zoom call yesterday, and someone had questions on my underwriting process, and I answered them. So you have to be confident in your underwriting process, but make sure multiple people underwrite it, because we all do miss things. We all do miss. And when it comes to underwriting big deals, when it comes to 10, 20, $30 million deals that we're doing, if you're off by 5,000 or off by 2%, when you're underwriting it through our formulas, that can change everything. Just by 2% of, a cap rate or anything, it can change everything. So it's very important to make sure you underwrite it, and then have someone who, if that's your weakness, have someone else double check your underwriting process.
Yeah, and that's coming back to being uncomfortable, because what
Correct.
you mentioned, that means you have to get a team. Oh my God, talk with more people. Jesus, come on.
I know. You have to step out of your comfort zone and network. I mean, everything we're talking about is basically in one big circle that we're talking about. You have to step out of your comfort zone. I think that's the first thing, is stepping out of your comfort zone and meeting new people and networking.
Exactly. Because, like you guys that are watching this video, and please like and subscribe if you didn't to this channel. You love real estate. That's why you tuned in. That's why you keep watching this. And real estate is a great thing, as Chris said. And I can tell exactly the same. I just love real estate, specifically multifamily. And this is the right vehicle for people to create true wealth. Either for the people that are investing with them, or for themselves also.
I think you hit it on the spot. Create true wealth. Yeah. That's the biggest thing. A lot of people ask me, when are you going to retire? I'll never retire, because when I grow my family big with my kids and everything, I'm going to give them one of my properties, so they can go ahead and reap the cash flow of that property and enjoy life. A lot of people don't know is I dropped out of college, and now I mentor the business department at my previous college, because of my real estate background and my success in real estate. So I think it's very important, like you said, is you build that strong wealth through real estate.
Exactly, because there's a lot of people, like I understand young generation. You see, maybe because we're coming from a different generation, I could say, I don't know how old are you, but probably we're close, same age. So we have a little bit different thinking, because the younger generation, I'm talking like 14, 16, 18, they're thinking like, oh my God, I'm going to be next Zuckerberg, or I'm going to come up with this great app or invention or something.
Instagram famous, or, all that.
You're looking for this new answer, like, it's great. Like, but how many people are going to have like Facebook? What's the chance of you coming up with a Facebook or something huge like that?
I remember when MySpace was around.
Yeah, the numbers are so small. Like, it's
very much so.
The statistics are against you guys, But to invest into multifamily or be part of this, like connect to the people, that's what it takes, to first get uncomfortable, connect with the right people, become a team with those people and help people,
If you study, and I've studied this, if you study Forbes top 20 in the whole world, they all have real estate assets that they invested in. They all have real estate assets because to me, it's a safer asset. It's a physical asset. It's safer because as humans back in the day, we went and we hunt for our meals. We hunt for food. And then the second thing we look for is shelter. So it's a necessity. We all need shelter. So if you look at that, everybody has invested interest in real estate.
Yeah, exactly. And who knows how long Facebook is going to be? Well, I'm sorry, maybe Facebook will not go away, but there's some companies that will go away and new companies will show up and stuff.
Oh, for sure.
We're talking about the internet companies, but the real estate is going to be forever.
Almost. It is.
Okay, there has to be some serious, thing going on, a meteor or something. If meteor hits, nobody's gonna be here, right?
Oh, I don't think so. I don't think so. My opinion is it's not gonna hit. It's not gonna hit.
Exactly. Don't worry, guys. I'm just
yeah.
Can you just talk about structuring your financing for the deals, and talking about the leverage? How much when it becomes risky, and what's the number on the leverage on the finance?
Yeah, definitely. So I think leverage is good. Here in the United States, a lot of people, they said the American dream is to pay off your house. American dream is to be debt free. Well, if you look, like I said, top 20 of Forbes, they all have debt. It's how you leverage the debt to build that wealth in life. So when I look at the debt from our lenders that are bringing it to us on these deals, and I look at that, and I see it very closely. I don't want to over leverage myself. Yeah, it may sound good, 80% LTV going into a deal, but at the end of the day, is it the right thing for our investors? Maybe that 75% LTV for that particular deal is the right thing for our investors. So I always put my investors first before I make my decisions. Would my investors be pleased with me making this decision? And I think that's why our investors trust me so well, is that when I think that way, would our investors be pleased with me making this decision? They really build that relationship, and you build that track record. So when looking at it, you don't want to over leverage yourself when looking at it. You don't want to under leverage yourself. And if it's not one of your strengths, find someone whose strengths that is to underwrite a deal, to realize and to know what the yield is and everything like that. So when you come out of that deal, you make it a profit for you and your investor. So really, if it's not your strengths, ask questions, network, find someone whose strengths it is for that type of the debt side.
Okay, and how is important when structuring a financing, looking let's say those 10 years, or whatever the exit is, 5-year, 10-year exit, looking in front, and let's say, we're in this situation like everybody's expecting for a downturn as we talked, low. So how does that, affect your financing? How do you structure, from there?
Yeah, so all of our deals are different. We all go into a deal with a goal in mind. Either we're going to hold it for 5 years, hold it for 7, hold it for 10, or sell it for after 2 to 3 years. So going into each deal is different. Each property is different. And that's one reason why I love real estate, is because it's different. It's not the same thing over and over. So depending on the deal, we'll normally hold for a 5 to 7 year period. Now, because some deals are undervalued, very much so in some locations here in the Carolinas, that we know that we can go in there, fix it up, go ahead and wait for about a 2.5 to 3 year term, and then sell it for a profit and make sure our investors get their profit that we preferred back to them, then we'll go ahead and do that. So I think to answer that, each deal is totally different when we're looking into it, but we have a set goal in mind going into each deal of what we're going to do. So when we do exit.
Yeah. Okay. Because like what happened in the previous, in 2008, 2007, like there's a lot of people who are over leveraged, right?
Correct.
When they bought the deals, and then the times changed, and like, like you mentioned A properties and B properties. That's why B and C properties, I think, like it's a great investment, because people will not start to afford the A type of property rents, and they will just start to go to B and C properties. So
correct. And those B and C properties, I'll always be around for them. So when they come, but I want to make sure those B and C properties feel like that A class property, and they feel great about the product that we give to them.
Okay. So talking about, people over leveraging and doing some, bad investments, can you talk about your personal worst and a best investment from your experience?
Yeah, definitely. So talking about, we chat about it, Bitcoin, worst investment I've ever made. That's why I do not invest in the stock market at all.
The crypto guys, Chris, are gonna hate you on this one later.
I am sorry. I am sorry. I would love to chat with them to, find out their niche, but that is not my niche. So if you are making money in it and building wealth in it, I give it to you. But when it comes to it, my worst investment was that. Best investment, I say, would be networking, and not necessarily in real estate, but it's networking and finding my coach. I think that's the best investment because that is long-term, and he is long-term, and he's going to take me to where I want to be in my 5-year goal, which is on Forbes. So I think that would be my best investment, is investing in myself with my knowledge for him.
Yeah. Oh, like totally. I agree with you 100%. Guys, everybody who's succeeding or on the way to success, like everybody's gonna say the same. Like the best investment. I did a bunch of interviews, and everybody's saying, because I'm asking all these guys the same question. Like the worst and the best, and they always say the best was in myself. The seminar, the people, like somebody, but that was in them. That wasn't. As we mentioned, as we talked before, it wasn't, I just put some money in real estate, and it's bam,
No.
crypto and bam. No, they talk
Correct.
about, I start reading, I start talking with people. That's the best investment.
I agree with you. The biggest thing you said too is reading. I wasn't a big reader, but now I am a very big reader. And like I said earlier, is that when I left college, I went to Barnes & Noble, and I sat in Barnes & Noble and I read books on real estate, investing, stocks, bonds, securities. And that's why I came back to what is something that we all as humans need. We need shelter. So I want to invest in real estate. So that's how really my big jump is straight into real estate. And now I mentor the business department at my previous college on what I do, my success in real estate, and how to find that one thing to focus on to take you to the next level in your career.
Yeah. Okay. Got it. So, we talked about getting involved with the people and building a team, and having a team to, having your back when it comes to, like looking at the deals, doing underwriting. So can you just talk about, for people who want to start, like what it takes to build a team and how they should structure it?
Okay, very good. So I think structuring it, let's go with how to build a team. Number one, you got to step out of your comfort zone and network. That's how you build a team. The more people you talk to, the bigger your network is, the higher your net worth will be. Yeah. We've all heard that. And I'm a true believer in that. So build that network, talk to people, always have business cards on you. Everybody loves real estate, so you can easily pop up a conversation about real estate. And then when it goes to building a team and what that looks like, I always believe in it organically coming together. If you force something, trying to force two magnets together, if they're on the opposite ones, they're both negative, they're going to retract. So don't force it. Don't force into trying to growing a team or building a team. Have it organically grow by the network that you build and the people you meet.
Okay. So, and how does the team should look like? I mean, what does it involve? That should have an account? Like, where do people start? Like, I don't know. Like, who should I pick? Like, in the first place, is it like, was it my friend Joe? I know he's good at math. He was studying in schools. And like, who's the team? Who's supposed to be involved in this? Like, who's underwriting the deals? Like, how do you find these people? Like, because that's what people, that's what people are looking for those answers.
Correct.
People are talking, you just go and find, you just talk, and it's a bam, I have 5 people.
Yeah.
For you, man, like, how do I find these people? Like, where do I go, and who are these people? Like,
great question. So my background on how I found these people is going back to number one, networking. I stepped outside of my comfort zone. And I met my business partners. I met my mentors. I met my coach. Got introduced to my coach. So I went out and I stepped outside of my comfort zone, and I built that relationship with them. They saw my passion for real estate. They saw that I will do anything and whatever it takes to make sure I have a successful business, and that my investors are very pleased with our business. And they saw that. So when I started talking to them, I realized very quickly what my weaknesses were and what my strengths were. So talking to them, they helped me with my weaknesses. So when you go into a network, you build that relationship with people, find out their strengths, find out their weaknesses. How are they leveraging their weaknesses? If it's a virtual assistant across seas, I know some people leverage their weakness with those virtual assistants. So find out your weakness, and then how can we leverage your weakness? That's the biggest thing, is how can you leverage it? Because life is how you can create a deal and how you leverage everything. So leverage your weakness by networking, finding people who has your weakness as their strength, and just talk with them. The biggest thing is once you hit a certain level of success, once you hit a certain level of building your business to the next level, you want to give back. That's why if you follow me on Instagram, every day I post about motivational mindset, being very positive, spending family time. I post about our deals, what to look for, what not to look for. So it's very important to build that mindset and build that positivity. So when you meet these people, they can feel that, and we all grow together. We all give our knowledge back. But you'll be surprised that someone will say no to you if you ask for advice. Find out who is where you want to be. My coach, when we first did our interview together, I told him my goal is to be Forbes 30 under 30 and to be Forbes self-made real estate billionaire. He says, that's funny because that's my goal too. And we both have a picture that we have on our whiteboard of our picture saying Forbes billionaire. So find out who has those same goals and reach out to them. Ask them for advice, because the worst they're going to say is no. But I promise you, you really won't get a no out of these people, because they want to give back their knowledge. And if you really have a passion for real estate, they'll feel that and they'll say yes to you.
Okay. In between the questions, right quick, because you just got my attention. Just I want to touch that subject, like a billion. I'm trying to think, like, is it for you, like, because there's a lot of people, they get this perspective, and that's why I want to talk about this, like, because a lot of people, like, money is everything, like, oh my God. So the money is the money, family, health, and like the money is most important. So,
money buys everything. I hate to say it, but money buys everything. And material things in life do make us happy as humans. Yeah. Now they may make us sad as well, but they do make us very happy. You're living with a beautiful home, that makes you happy. It makes you feel comfortable. So I agree.
100%. But my question is, like, is the billion just for the number, just to reach the billion, or is it's bigger purpose, or it's just because, probably you heard the Donald Trump saying, something, his quote was saying something like, I love making money in real estate, but the game excites me more than the money. The money is just keeping the score.
Correct. Yeah. So the biggest thing is when I underwrite these, Warren Buffett says the same thing. Money is just keeping score. But when I underwrite these deals, I don't look at what I get paid. I don't care about what I get paid. I care about what my investors get paid. Mm-hmm. I know that if I can help a lot of people build wealth, then at the end of the day, I believe in laws of attraction, it will be taken care of for me. So I don't even look at what I get paid on the spreadsheets. There's a tab on where it is, but I don't look at it because I'm not worried about it. I'm worried about giving and building other people's wealth, because I know at the end of the day, it will come back to me. And I love real estate, and it will be in real estate. The number of 1 billion is because I've had a lot of people doubt me. I've had a lot of people tell me I can't, and I want to prove them wrong. And then when I make that before I die, I will give it away. My mother has stage 4 breast cancer, so I plan on building a nonprofit, privately owned cancer facility for cancer patients. Yeah. And then a big thing to me is that I love animals. I love dogs. I love cats. So I want to build a ginormous no-kill shelter because a lot of people over here will breed too many animals and mistreat them. So I want to have a big warehouse where they all can just be happy, because if you really think about it, animals live in the moment. They're not worried about what's going on. They just live in that moment, and they're so happy. So those are my goals to reach that 1 billion. But I've been doubted a lot. I've been criticized a lot. A lot of people doubted me on my goals. Well, they're my goals. They're not yours. So that's why I'm going to reach them.
Yeah, exactly. I just love what you said, because, like, people operate two ways. They either get pulled by some big vision,
Correct.
I had like a big goal or something, like inspires them, or sometimes it's the problems pushing them, all the time. So, it's good to have those two, because you have the big goal in front of you and you have some naysayers thinking, oh man, you're going to suck, or you're going to fail at this. And it just drives you and pushes you. So that's
And
good.
it works. It works because you think about those naysayers telling you, oh, you're not going to do it. No, you can't reach it. And that says, okay, well, I'm going to stay 2 hours later at the office, or I'm going to go ahead and make sure I get this done. I'm going to go ahead and push my business to the next level. And that fires us as humans and just takes our business to the next level.
Exactly. Like try this, guys, just be uncomfortable. That's what we're talking about, getting uncomfortable. And, because people are scared sometimes for other people's opinions. Like it doesn't all matter. It doesn't matter.
No.
Look
That's where the success sits, is when you're uncomfortable, the success sits there. And I get uncomfortable too. Yeah. I mean, we all do. I mean, I get uncomfortable, but then I tell myself, well, those naysayers want me to feel uncomfortable. They want me to say no. They want me to fail. But then I look, okay, there's my family, there's my goals. This is what I need to do. Let's go. Have that positive mindset. And I preach every day on my Instagram is positivity. Positive mindset will overcome any negative situation.
Yeah, 100%. And having 1 billion in real estate, man, I mean, we talking BlackRock levels. So I wish you that, my man.
Thank you. So, I can't wait.
So can we talk about the upcoming economical cycle, where we think we're going, how fast is it going to happen, and maybe some strategies to implement for people who don't know, like that the downturn is going to come in, and what they can do in these times to support them from losing their properties.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I think we touched on it very heavily previously. Is don't over leverage yourself. Make sure yourself is not over leveraged during these cycles, because it will happen. I'm not I can't tell the future. So we don't know that exact time on when it will happen or how long it will be. But if you have yourself over leveraged, you're going to hurt yourself. If yourself is under leveraged, you're going to hurt yourself as well. And that's what happened. We all saw in 08 and 09 here in the States. So the biggest thing is that I got out of single family investments, because that single family is one person in there. And if they lose their job, or if they stop paying rent and they decide to squat in the property, I'm going to have to evict them. I'm going to have another payment on my hands. So the biggest thing is that's why I moved to multifamily assets, anything over 100 units, because I'm leveraging myself. I'm leveraging that if a market correction shifts, I can go ahead and I do the math down to the minimum I need a tenant to pay for us to still cash flow and meet our investors' returns.
Okay, got it. Simple, right? But can you just give an advice? I know you're not in the European market, and maybe it's hard for you to get a perspective maybe of what's going on in here, but still at the same time, it's a little bit different from US market. But would you recommend for somebody to invest to buy one apartment or to buy a house, like invest into these type of deals? Would you recommend somebody to do that?
Oh, I would 100%. I think the biggest thing is really no matter how much money you have, and I don't know how the European side of investing is with accredited or anything like that currently, but I will study it and become an expert on it. But when it comes to investing, make sure before you make that initial investment, and make sure that you're making the correct investment. So everyone thinks single family, let's get one rental. Not necessarily. Why don't you pull your money together with private equity firms like mine, for example, and buy a bigger asset and have a bigger return on your investment compared to a single family home. So before you make your investment, I would say explore all options. Because I explore all options when investing, because you never know what will come across your desk that's a good option. So I would say explore all options and find out who's the market expert in that area and talk to them when it comes to real estate.
Yeah. So I think the answer is no.
Yeah.
The answer is no. The short answer is no, guys. Like the bigger is always better.
Correct.
The bigger is always better. And, don't try to make sense. Like I bought this one unit, like in this side of town, and I have another 2 units in that side. like it's just imagine the cost of management. I mean, you're going to be managing the property, like the toilets, the tenants, the cockroaches, like all that stuff.
You're gonna be getting the call at 1 o'clock in the morning saying my HVAC unit went out. I need AC.
No, and that's good because like you should cross your fingers and hope nothing bad is going to happen. Nothing bad is going to happen in economy. Your tenants are always going to stay in the property. They're going to take care of it. It's going to be good. But this is not a Disneyland, man. Like things happen, like in life, and bad things happen for good people. And maybe you're a good person with a good intentions. You want to succeed in this, and you're like, man, like I'm looking in the mirror every day, saying like I'm a good person, like I want to succeed, and you feel all the good feelings. But the economy does what it does.
Yeah, so you can't control that.
Exactly. So bigger is always better. Chris is probably.
In my opinion.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So can you just give some advice for people who are looking for those bigger properties, like specific things when they tour them, what they should look for to indicate it's a good or a bad investment?
Yeah, definitely. Well, I would narrow down your niche, number one. Like we discussed, that one thing. Narrow down if you want a value-added property where you can go in and add value to that property and then hold it for a certain period of time and then sell it or refinance. Or if you want to just go ahead and invest passively, or if you want to go ahead and take down and do A-class property, brand new development. So I would say find out your niche and then go ahead and schedule a tour with the broker. And when you're touring it, you want to talk to the property manager. Find out what the tenants like and don't like. Find out what the property manager likes and doesn't like about the property. What can be improved on the property. I would say write down a pros and cons list and find out the pros and cons about the property. And then when touring it, make sure you know and make sure you're a market expert. Know your comps, know your competition, what your competition's offering and incentives. When you're dealing in that A class, I'm normally seeing here in Charlotte, I've seen up to 3 months free rent for here in Charlotte, with $500 credit back. They're desperate to get someone in. So it's very important to, find out what your competition's doing. Find out, well, if I buy A class right now, am I going to have to do those same? Find out the occupancy. How many people are renewing? That's the big thing. How many people feel like it's a home? Because when they renew, to me, that goes back on the property manager, that they're building a strong relationship with those tenants, and those tenants want to stay in that property. And they take care of your property at the end of the day. So those are some questions I would ask to the broker and to the property manager on the property in general.
Okay. So, because you mentioned, like the rent roll. I mean, it's a big thing. Like people. Because, people talk about like the important is go and see the property, feel the property, the roofs, the sidewalks, the parking, like all these, the things. But when you go and ask people these questions, either the broker or management, do they tend to lie or exaggerate the situation like a lot? Or because these things happen, right?
Oh yeah, they happen. People lie and stuff. My biggest thing is I'm straightforward. I tell you how it is, and I just ask it straight out. If I catch them off guard or not, I just ask them straight out. What does the tenants like or dislike about this property? In your opinion, what do you like and dislike, or what can we improve on this property? So I ask them straight up. But if you know your market and you're a market expert, you will know if they are lying or not lying before you go ahead and tour that building.
Exactly. Because that's where an expertise starts to come in, because like
Correct.
At this point you have to know people.
Oh, I agree.
You have to know, like when people talk about like reading psychology, like you have to read people and know when they
have to
telling the truth, because they can be like, sometimes they can be like, oh man, we just installed these brand new copper, like pipes in the building, and you go and you do due diligence and it's all freaking like it's metal. Like you change the new roof and you find out it's painted. So,
I agree.
These things
happens.
Yeah. So, but having the good team, be part of your game and the one that, does due diligence and support your back. Because, maybe I'm not good in communicating, but maybe my partner is great at that and finding if they're lying or not. And,
you can never ask enough questions when it comes down to it, because at the end of the day, I put my shoes in my investor's shoes, and I tell, if my investors are pleased with it, then I'm pleased with it. That's how I think. Will my investors be pleased with this decision I'm about to make? And that's where you will grow a big business, in my opinion.
Yeah, exactly. So talking about growing a big business, like what's your plan for your company, for QC Capital, to invest in the future? How many units are you planning to acquire in the next 5 years?
Yeah, great question. So when it comes down to units, it will definitely be substantial. My main goal is the volume under management. So in the next 5 years, 1.5 billion under management that we are operating. That is my goal.
What? So sorry, say that again. 1.5
billion
with a B.
with a B, billion.
Love it, love it. So
Yeah.
this is again, this is the big leagues we're talking about. You know
Correct.
what it takes for a person to go to these leagues to even be able to dream, because maybe somebody is watching right now, you know, and thinking like, man, I was thinking about buying an apartment or a house. You're talking about having a billion, assets under management. What does it take for a person to leave his mind and think that this is possible?
My biggest thing is really I meditate too, to have that positive mindset, because when you're getting into the big leagues, there's a lot of negativity that will be drawn on you. Even if you're just starting out and you're new, you'll lose. I've lost deals because being new, or I've lost deals. So when you're new, you will end up losing deals. So having a positive mindset to go in and just set your goal and say, I'm going to achieve that goal. That's the biggest thing, and have it, and you have to embed it in your head. So on my phone, on my lock screen and my home screen on my iPhone, I have 1.5 billion for my goal. Then I have 1 billion for my net worth. Then I have my my yearly goal, and then what I'm going to make for my 6-month goal. So I have it embedded, and I always see it every single day, right when I wake up, right when I go to bed. Because that right there, when it's embedded and you can see yourself actually in and reaching that goal, you'll end up reaching that goal. So to step outside of your comfort zone, you have to do things that you are uncomfortable with to reach that end goal that you have in your mind. And everyone's goal is different. Yeah. I just set big goals for myself because I have people I need to prove wrong, and I have big goals that I want to live.
Yeah. And I have the same. I have the same as you mentioned on a phone screen. I duplicated that from Steve Harvey.
So, yeah. Okay. Very good. Very good.
Good man. So we 1.5 billion. Like how much capital are we talking? You probably need to raise. So people, the audience would sense the amount of uncomfortable work involved into this.
Very much so. So you're probably looking with capital wise around $350-400 million.
Oh, okay. So
I would say about 25% of the whole value.
Yeah. So if you divide that by initial investment of 50 or 100 grand, you can sense the number of people you need to talk to, like build a relationship. So
correct.
Like meet all the time, talk with them, and it's not everybody is going to say yes. It could.
That's right.
It could be maybe if you're good looking and you're approachable as Chris is, like it could be that everybody will say yes to you. But it could be just, it's not, maybe it's a numbers game. So from 10 people, it could be just 2 or 3. Especially when you're starting, it could be none.
Correct. Yeah. And the biggest thing is when you hear that no, do not get discouraged. And that's what I preach about on my Instagram, is you have that positive mindset. So when you hear that no, you say, thank you. I'll still send you information. You still build a strong relationship, because you never know when that no will be a yes. And then you just keep going. You keep on pushing. You just never give up. That's the biggest thing, is just do not give up. Yeah,
exactly. Plain and simple.
That is right.
Talking about Instagram, where people can follow your great posts, man. I just love them. As I mentioned, your posts are awesome, motivating.
Thank you.
There's some statistics about real estate, and about real estate game. You post daily, and I just love your Instagram. And what other channels people can find you? I'm gonna put links down below, guys, so we can go and follow him and get in contact, get in touch, be close in proximity with great people. So how people can find you on social?
So on Instagram, it's Chris_Salerno_. So it's my first name, last name, and 2 underscores. And then on Facebook, it's Chris Salerno. And it's the same with the underscores if you can't find it, but it's Chris Salerno. You should be able to find me. I have a picture of my profile up there.
Guys, that's the first
Easy.
step. Check if you're not lazy and willing to do the work. Plus,
Yeah,
check the link down below. Just
definitely.
go to the mouse. It's
Yeah.
so like, man, Chris, it's been a true pleasure. Like,
Thank you.
the passion and the love for the real estate game is just it's coming out of you from all ends, from your face, man. And
Good. Thank you. I love it.
people can sense that definitely, and you're a great man. And
Thank you.
having courage to have
Yeah.
vision, like 1.5 billion, man. People can even, like I thought I was dreaming big, man. I need to step my game up. I need to just throw my, dream board away and just start putting new pieces on, man. So thanks for that.
Hey, we always change. We always have different goals. In 5 years, that goal, or in 2 years, that goal may be higher. Because we're on track to hit it. So yeah, I mean, you're always changing goals. I've learned, but you definitely have that. You have to have that big why, and you have to have something that is pushing you to reach that level.
Exactly. Love it, man. So just appreciate the time and the effort you put into
Definitely.
this.
Thank you so much.
Guys, go and check it out, the QC Capital. You're going to find the link down below. Go and follow Chris. Contact him about the investments. We talked before the interview. You said you have some new investment coming up.
Yeah, definitely. I'll shoot you an email in regards to that. But yeah, definitely have some great new properties here coming up in Charlotte that we're definitely looking to acquire, and just taking over Charlotte and the Carolinas.
That's awesome. Great market.
So phenomenal.
I'm going to upload for you guys maybe more information about the North Carolina market, so we can go and check, what it takes. Is it safe to invest?
Definitely.
Then you can, read through the market, and then you can look up the deal that Chris has also. So again, man, been a pleasure. Thanks for your time and
yes.
And I hope I'll see you next time, maybe face to face with a cup of coffee, and we can talk through, some deals and stuff like that. So.
My plan's to come over there at the end of the summer. So when I do, I'll make sure we can have a cup of coffee.
Man, love it. Okay, man. Great talking with you.
All right. It's a pleasure. Take care.